As I'm reading through the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 15, verse 9 through 11 spoke to my heart, and it's about giving to the poor. And the Word of God says, you might be stingy toward the poor and give them nothing. Said, do be careful not to think that they are worthless. That's really a worthless thought. And there's so many scriptures about the poor. Matthew 19, verse 21. Matthew chapter 26, verse 11. Luke 2, verse 12. James 2, 5. Leviticus, where we right past this is Leviticus 19, verse 15. 1 Samuel 2, 7. God has a special heart for the poor. Proverbs 21:13. Whoever shuts his ears to the cry of the poor, when they call out to God, they will not be answered. And as we looked at Proverbs 21 many, many years ago, as our children were growing up, God used that verse. I was pastoring a small church in the state of Washington, and God used that verse to really speak to my heart. And I wanted somehow to get our children involved in outreach to the poor and underprivileged children. And we prayed and asked God, what could we do? And we found that at that time you could adopt orphans. And I think Feed the Children and some of these other organizations, I'm sure there's opportunities like that. And so we adopted orphans. And our kids could pick them. You know, they went and looked and picked the orphans that they wanted to give specifically to, and to pray for them and to send money regularly, monthly, to the support and the feeding of that poor. In those days, it doesn't sound like much money today, but in those days, $10 would take care of an orphan for a month. And so we adopted two, and that was really by faith, that God would provide that our kids could take part with the lives of these kids. And they were able to write notes to them, and sometimes the orphans would write a little note back and it'd be translated. I believe these orphans that we supported were in Korea, and there was just a ton of orphans there because of the war and all the things that were going on there. And we wanted our children to really focus on the poor. And today, Samaritan's Purse, which is run by Franklin Graham, is a wonderful organization. They have a worldwide ministry to the poor and to those that are in disasters, that type of thing. And at Christmas time, I mean, you can contact Samaritan's Purse, and at Christmas time, they make up these boxes for children, and you can buy a box that they'll make up, or you can make up a shoebox and put your own things in there. And you have to let them know if it's for a small child or a little older child, and so on. And reach the poor kids that way at Christmas time, because many of them never get presents at all of any sort. Also, one of the things that we love to do as a family is in October and November, they send out a magazine. And in that magazine, they have pictures and the countries where you can give so much money to buy a family rakes and shovels, things like that, where they can have a garden, seeds. We've bought bikes for the evangelists in India to ride, which made it easier from going from place to place. There's just unbelievable opportunities. Equipment for us, for someone who is just a medical trained person, not a doctor, not a trained nurse, but giving them some of the equipment that they could take care of the poor in the villages. But that little magazine is full of many opportunities. And you could sit down with your children and say, let's see, we want to spend X amount of money for the poor, and let's go through, and what do you think we ought to pick to support for the poor? Our kids love that. So you need to hold it up before them. They need to be able to see that. My son's ministry, attack poverty, breaking generational poverty, and that's on the web, and it's www.attackpoverty.com. There are all kinds of ministries that you can be involved in that have a strong emphasis of reaching the poor. So look at ways, because don't shut your ears to the cry of the hungry, the cry of those who desperately need medication. Maybe they have bad malaria and yet they can't afford the medications for that. But it's amazing. My son's video that you can watch, very well done, on the Uganda man, and just going into Uganda, and they've adopted this village in Uganda, and hear the testimonies from the police department, the school, all the things in Uganda as they've gone in to get them clean water and all kinds of things, and also share Christ. So, pray. If you're not sure, if you know a Christian leader, a pastor, or someone, you could say in our country, because so many countries are watching these videos. It's almost now 150 countries, and I'm sure that there are tremendous needs. And ask someone, how can I make a little difference? Because a lot of people making a little difference will make a big difference. And if you consider the poor in your giving, trust me, God will bless you, and you'll begin to have phenomenal answers to prayer.